Hello, I am Jaron Morning. I'm the Youth Service Center Coordinator at Bluegrass Middle School. Today we're at EC3 and we have the Middle School Girl Power Conference. We've been able to get presenters from across the state to discuss different things with our girls. We feel like it's very important to introduce these topics, to talk about these topics with our middle school girls because they're at a very impressionable age. They are so wrapped up, or can be so wrapped up in social media and what everybody else thinks about them or what they think about everybody else. They can lose themselves within that. So we wanted to give them the opportunity to kind of explore themselves and figure out what they need to do to be their best them.
All right, I work for the electronic crime branch of the state police. You don't see us a lot. I don't wear this every day. I don't get to drive a cool car anymore or anything like that. I work internet crimes against children, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's child sexual exploitation on the internet. Most people just call it child pornography. Deal with a lot of girls your guys' age, and one of the main things that a lot of kids that I come across don't realize is that a sexual predator can hide in your smartphone. It's not a guy standing in the corner of the playground anymore wearing a trench coat, driving a big van with free candy spray painted on the side of it like you see on the cartoons and stuff, you know. It's anybody online. And it doesn't matter if it's, you know, games for kids or chat rooms for kids or whatever. These guys go where you go because they're seeking out you. So that's where they're going to be. So a lot of kids don't think about that stuff. You know, they think, well, this is for kids, you know, I'm safe here, but that's not the case. So these guys know what they're doing. Like I said, they know where you are. They know about stuff that's popular with kids before we even know. And that's where they're at, because that's what they're looking for, is kids.
Meeting a teen girl online is actually pretty easy. You can go into any chat room and just start talking. Most of the girls are usually so insecure and desperate for attention.
Attention from older guys is totally flattering. They're so much more mature and understanding than the guys my age.
Age actually works to my advantage. They like to brag to their friends that they're dating an older guy, so I just play along and pretend I'm really
interested in the same things I am. You can talk forever and really get to know someone without worrying about looks or whatever. That's the best thing about
chatting seems unthreatening to them, so they lower their guard. After a while, I start talking about how we're soulmates and how lucky we are to have found each other.
Other people don't understand. I know what I'm doing. If you really care about each other, there's nothing wrong with me.
Meeting them is the goal. Once I get them out of their house, well, that's when things get really interesting.
Online predators know what they're doing. Do you?
This is video kind of touching on exactly what I was talking about. They know what to say, they know what to do, they know where to go to find kids because that's what they're looking for. This is a guy. These cases, I've got a couple cases on here that our branch has done. Most of them, if not all, were before I actually worked at the branch because we have to wait quite a while for all these cases and stuff to get through court and everything before we can talk about them. But this is one of the older cases we had. This guy's name is Anthony Souders. He's from Middlesboro. What he would do is he would get online and pretend to be a kid, a boy about the same age as those girls, 10, 12, I think was his age range, 10 to 12. And he would pretend to be a little boy about those girls' age. And he would befriend them and talk to them. And just like the video before, he would say what they wanted to hear because he knew what they wanted to hear. And he eventually got them to trust him to the point that they made some videos. You know, some of them took their clothes off and things like that per his direction. He told them what to do. So they made the videos that he wanted and sent them to him. And what happened after that was he used that as leverage over them to blackmail them. So he said, hey, I've got this video. I told you I wouldn't save it, but I lied and I saved it. And here's the proof that I still have it. He'd send it to him and say, hey, make me another video or I'm sending this to your mom or your dad, brother, sister, friends at school, whoever, if you don't make me more videos. So most of these girls, it's terrifying. So they started making more videos and they felt like there was no way out. So they continued to do that. And what he did with these videos is he would post them in a private chat group online or message board type website, and people would have a subscription to this hidden website. They would have to pay him to get on it. And he would sell them a subscription to get on and watch these videos of these children exploiting themselves. So like I said earlier, it's not the guy in the trench coat hiding in the corner of the playground anymore, right? People think they're weird older men who live in their mother's basements or lie about their interests and their age by pretending to be younger, trick children into giving up personal information in order to snatch them up, stalk, abduct, forcibly assault children, run up and grab a kid and take off, that kind of thing. But the truth is, they can be anyone. Mostly men, 26, older, generally not pedophiles. They don't usually lie about their age. Like the guy before, he did, but a lot of them don't. They don't usually hide their sexual intentions. They're pretty straightforward with you from the start. Violence is rare. They want you to comply to what they want. They don't want to force you to do anything. They want to manipulate you into doing what they want you to do. Meetings and sex are most often voluntary because of that. What do you think these guys look like? There's a few of them. These are all guys that our branch has arrested, years ago before I was there, 2010, around that time frame. Some of these guys look like computer geeks, like this guy over here in the corner. He looks pretty cool, But most of these guys, you could walk by them on the street and they probably wouldn't stick out to you. They just blend in with everyone else. This guy, he's out of Danville, and he was a youth group leader at a church. And what he did, he took the roster from the youth group and got a bunch of girls' numbers from the church, and he would send them texts, and he lied about who he was and told them he was a UK student and all that. And he got nude photographs of a lot of them. So he got charged with distributing in obscene manner to minors and possession of child pornography because he got these girls to send him naked pictures. This guy is a police officer. He's from Florida. And what happened was some of the cases that we work are undercover cases. So, for example, I will get online and I'll make a Facebook account, say. And I will say, hey, I'm a 14-year-old girl. I live in this town. I go to this school, whatever. So he was online messaging who he thought was a 13-year-old little girl. And it was actually one of our detectives in Kentucky. So he drove all the way from Florida to meet who he thought was a 13-year-old girl and have sex with her. But when he showed up, he saw a bunch of us in the parking lot, so he was a little disappointed, but we weren't. He was pretty out there. He wanted to have sexual relations with the child he thought he was talking to and have a kid with that kid, and then abuse the kid with the mother, who he thought was a 13-year-old. So he was a little out there. He was charged, of course, convicted, put in jail, and he committed suicide after all that was said and done. This is the same charge that the police officer was guilty of as well. It's called prohibited use of an electronic communication systems to procure a minor or peace officer for sexual offense, which is a mouthful. But that basically just means like the police officer, he was sexting who he thought was a 13-year-old. He wanted to meet them for sex. He was sending them sexual pictures. He requested sexual content from the child. That's what that means. This guy, same thing. He offered to pay $2,500 to have sex with a 6 and 10-year-old girl who he thought was a 6 and 10-year-old girl of an undercover agent. So that means one of us was undercover, just like with the police officer before, and we say, hey, we've got these two kids, one's 6, one is 10, and they're both little girls. How much would you pay to have sex with them? And this guy wanted to do it. So, of course, we set up a meeting for him, just like we did with the police officer from Florida. He brought condoms because he thought he was going to have sex with 2 children. So there was no question about his intent of why he was there. Took his phone, searched them on scene, found child pornography. Some kids on there were as young as 2 years old. We found conversations with other people that ended up leading to more arrests because he was trading pictures with other people, child pornography, with other users. So we were able to track down those guys with the information we got from his phone and arrest them as well. Victims in these types of cases are usually 13 to 15-year-old females. Few boys, but the majority are girls. With a history of sexual or physical abuse sometimes, and they engage in patterns of risky behavior, which is talking to strangers on the internet, adding people you don't know on your friends list, having sexual conversations with people, sending nude photographs, things like that. The boogeyman is real. And like the first picture on the presentation, he lives in your smartphone and on your computer. This young lady, her name's Alicia, and when she was 13 years old, which this was, you can tell from the picture, this is a little before your guys' time. We had dial-up back then. When she was 13, she met who she thought was a boy her age in an online chat room. And she'd get out of bed in the middle of the night because mom and dad kept the computer in the living room and they monitored her online. They wanted to try and be safe and make sure they knew what she was doing. So they put the computer in a communal area and they said, okay, you can only use it from this hour to this hour, 2 or 3 hours in the evening, whatever, when they can watch. So she would sneak and get up out of bed in the middle of the night while her mom and dad were asleep, and she'd get on the internet to talk to her boyfriend. That was her teenage boyfriend. His name is Scott Tyree, and he's a 38-year-old man at the time from Virginia. Alicia was in Pennsylvania. So she chatted with this guy for almost a year. So that's how patient some of these guys are. They will talk to you for as long as it needs to get what they want, because they do not have good intentions and they are patient. So he talked with her for about a year and finally gained her trust to the point that she agreed to meet this guy outside of her house in Pennsylvania, which was a 4-hour drive for Tyree. He drove 4 hours to kidnap this girl. So once they met, he took her to his home in Virginia, 4 hours away, and she was held captive for 4 days. During those 4 days, she was raped, tortured, and shackled to the floor next to his bed in the basement. He would live stream the abuse while it was taking place, and people would pay online to watch this abuse, kind of like the other guy that would get the videos and post them on the message board and make people pay. People were paying to watch this live stream abuse of Alicia. And one of these Good Samaritans that happened to be viewing this recognized her from that poster. So he contacted the police and she was rescued because one of those viewers recognized her from the poster. So where is she now? That's her now. And she is now an advocate for internet safety and missing persons. She's the founder of the Alicia Project, which you can look that up. It's really cool. They do some great stuff. It's an advocacy group to raise awareness of online predators, abduction, and child sexual exploitation. Kind of the same kind of thing I'm doing now, coming and talking to you guys today. She also had the namesake of the Alicia's Law, which we use that as well. It helps us get funding to work these kinds of cases because it takes a lot of resources. So she helps give law enforcement agencies the money to work these kind of cases and save kids. So in her case, a predator flattered her, sent her gifts. Of course, they discussed adult subjects. They may ask you to keep secrets, turn you against your family and your friends to isolate you, make you feel like they're the only person that understands you. You can't talk to anyone but them because no one else cares but them. They'll ask for inappropriate pictures of you, and then they'll blackmail you, like the guy at the beginning of the presentation. That's called grooming. It's just a process they use to gain your trust. And if this does happen to you, keep in mind, it's not your fault. It's not. You're a victim for a reason. You've not done anything wrong. And these guys get kids that are victims every day because they're good at what they do. Like I said, they know what they're doing. And they know where kids are. They know what to say to kids. They know how to appeal to you to make you feel like, well, he really understands me. Like this guy, he's older. He's not my age or anything, but he really understands me. And I trust him. And he would never do anything to hurt me. Things like that. That's what they want you to think. Don't engage them. Don't talk to them. Don't add them. block them, don't meet them offline, especially, and tell somebody. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandparents, tell a teacher at school you trust. Tell somebody what's going on so that somebody knows you're safe or can make sure that you're safe. So this is another complaint we got in 2010. We got a complaint from a mom of a 15-year-old girl. And like I said, we'll do the undercover stuff. Part of that is we can take over accounts that belong to kids. So they come in, say mom and this girl, for example, came in, and we'll sign permission slips and things like that. And I will take over your account and pretend to be you if somebody like this is talking to you. That way, when they show up at the bowling alley to meet you, they're gonna see me and all my buddies, and they're gonna be a little disappointed, but it's gonna be fun. So that's what happened in this case. Mom came in and said, hey, 25-year-old guy's added my daughter on Facebook and sent her messages saying she's cute, wanted her to call him, all that good stuff. Looked at his Facebook account, saw several messages from girls in the area about the same age saying, hey, quit talking to me, like leave me alone, stop messaging me. So we took over her account, and Thuggin' But Stuntin' over here showed up to meet who he thought was the 15-year-old girl, but he met us in the parking lot. So he had, sexual conversations right away with the undercover detective that took over this account. Agreed to meet with him. That whole thing I just basically told you. We talked to him. He had sexual conversations. Set up a meeting with him. He showed up and he went to jail. While they were doing presentations at other schools like I am right now, they actually met a bunch of the other girls that this guy was contacting online and aggravating. Keep in mind, he went to jail because that girl trusted her mom enough to come to her and say, hey, this is going on and I think something's off. Because she knew that she hadn't done anything wrong, because she hadn't. And she told somebody, and that put Thuggin' But Stuntin' in jail. Report anyone who sends you adult images or wants to talk to you about adult subjects or asks you to meet offline if you have no idea who they are and they're doing all these things. Tell someone so that we can make sure that you are safe. Oversharing. My name is blank. My birthday is blank. I go to blank school. I cheerlead. I go, I have one brother and one sister, and they're evil. So I know she's got siblings. I know where she lives. I know where she goes to school, how old she is. I could probably walk up to her front door within 10 minutes after a quick Google session, just from the information I have on her profile. If any of y'all got Facebook and I log onto your Facebook and I'm not your friend, I don't want to be able to see anything but your picture. That's it. So if you have Facebook and it's not locked down, lock that thing down. Personal information, same thing as before. Don't give people your passwords, your phone number, your schedule, especially your social security number, your addresses, financial information, if you have any of that stuff. Don't tell people that on the internet. Kind of common sense. I'm sure you guys already know that. So before you do anything or post anything questionable or have any conversations with anyone that you feel may be questionable, a few things to ask yourself. Who might I hurt, whether it be yourself or someone else? How could this impact my future? Do I like what this says about me? Could this get me into trouble? And would the adults in my life think this is appropriate? Now, the could this get me into trouble part, I view that as the kind of trouble Alicia got in. Not, hey, you're grounded or you're in trouble with the police or anything like that. When I say this could get you into trouble, I mean you can end up like Alicia. And that was a few years ago, but it still happens every day.
Hey, Zach. It's me. I can't stop thinking about you. I know you've been waiting for this for a while. I wanted to give you something special.
are you? Why are you doing this?
Basically, this video is just showing the grooming process. Girl talking to a guy who is not who he says he is online, imagine that. And she sends him a picture, and the same thing happened that happened to those little girls. It was used to blackmail, and that was it. Sexting. Y'all know what sexting is. Transfer of sexual explicit content. Cell phone, computer, whatever you're using, instant messages, text messages, pictures, videos, things of that sort. All fall under the category of sexting. Is sexting illegal? Sexting can meet the criteria for a felony criminal prosecution, which a lot of kids that I talk to as well don't think about that. If you're underage and you take a picture of yourself and send it to your boyfriend, you've produced child pornography because you're underage, you've possessed it because you took the picture and you have it on your phone, and then you distributed it to your boyfriend or whoever, and then you've caused your boyfriend to commit a felony because he now possesses it because you sent it to him. So you don't want to get into that mess. These are some incidents just across the country where some kids were charged for doing just that. 17-year-old charged with possessing child pornography after he posted naked pictures of his 16-year-old ex-girlfriend online. Nobody's ex-boyfriend would do that, right? Alabama, same thing. 4 middle school kids got charged for the same thing, sharing nude photos of themselves. New York, 16-year-old boy faces up to 7 years in prison for forwarding a nude picture of a 15-year-old girlfriend to his friends. Consequences of sexting, besides the police involvement, of course. Humiliation, bullying, blackmail, school discipline, get in trouble, take your phone, all that stuff. You don't want that to happen either. But the humiliation, the bullying, and the blackmail are my biggest concerns for you guys. You don't want that to happen to you. You don't want to put yourself in that situation, and you don't want to cause that for anyone else. So like the kid down here that forwarded the pictures, if you end up getting something like that, don't spread it. Don't make it any worse than it needs to be. Tell somebody what's going on before something happens to that kid that we can't prevent. So Amanda Todd was a girl that something like that happened to her, and she ended up getting bullied and picked on to the point that she committed suicide. I think it was just about 2 weeks. She posted this video on YouTube, and about 2 weeks after she posted this video, she committed suicide. What happened was, chatted online with someone she didn't know, befriended her, got her trust, and I think it was a video maybe that he took a screenshot of where she lifted her shirt and exposed her breasts to the camera for just a quick second. And he screenshotted that and saved it and said, hey, if you don't do more or send me more videos or pictures, whatever, I'm going to send them to everyone. And she didn't do any more videos or pictures for him, and that's what he did. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He sent it to everyone she knew at school, and I think she even switched schools, if I'm remembering correctly. She even switched schools, and he sent it to everyone at the new school, so she couldn't get away from him because it was online. And once she sent the picture, like that one card said, it's there forever. There's no magic delete button that I can get on the internet and take a picture off the internet or a video off the internet forever. So remember that. Please remember that when you're talking to these guys. Once that stuff is out there, it's out there, and we can't get it back. It ended up being a guy that was overseas. I think he may have been in the Netherlands. And it took them quite a while to find him, but they did actually find the guy and arrest him for what he did. So what can you do to prevent something like that from happening to you or someone else that you know? Don't take images of yourself that you wouldn't want everyone to see. If it's on the internet, if your mom can look at it and say, that's a good picture, I approve, you're probably good to go. If that's not the case, don't even take the picture. Don't forward anyone else's image. Like I was saying earlier, she killed herself not because of necessarily that she sent the video or the picture to this guy. She killed herself because she felt so isolated and alone and depressed because of the bullying and the ridicule that came from what happened and from him sending it. And then that person sent it to another person, and that person sent it to 3 or 4 more people, and those people sent it to 3 or 4 more people. And it just kind of spirals out of control, and like I said, there's nothing we can do to stop that once that's already happened. There's no delete button or, undo. There's none of that. Don't ask or pressure anyone else into sharing an image. Don't put them in that situation just like you wouldn't want to be put in that situation. And talk to an adult. Just like the girl earlier that we took over her account. If she would have kept talking to this guy, he was obviously willing to meet up with her because he met up with who he thought was going to be her, and it ended up being us. So these guys are willing to meet you online if they can convince you to do it. So tell somebody, well, long before it gets to that point. But even if you don't, and it gets to that point, and you don't know where to go or what to do, tell somebody. Find an adult that you trust and tell somebody so they can let us know and we can help you.
My name is Kayla, and I'm here to talk to y'all a little bit about body image and self-esteem. I just want to do a little introduction to myself because I don't know any of you all, so I'm from here. I'm brought in here today to talk a little bit about body image and self-esteem because I used to have an eating disorder for 10 years. So I used to have anorexia and binge eating, and I've been recovered for 5 years. This is going on my 5th year. So I'm a health coach, and I help people overcome negative body image and self-esteem. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is for you guys. So, hey you, yes you, you're all amazing. So I just want you to know that. So we're going to go over, like I said, about body image. I'm sure you've heard it before, but body image is the way that we think about and feel about our size, our shape, our weight, and appearance of our bodies. It's how we see ourselves in the mirror and how we picture ourselves in our minds. It's kind of what we think about ourselves. What we believe is true and how you feel about your body, your height, your weight, all encompass our body image. It can be hidden or shared about how you feel about your body. I hid mine for a long time. I didn't like myself. So, many of us suppress messages when we're younger, which can lead to either positive or negative body image in the future. Like I said, I hid mine for a long time. I never really liked myself. I always was hard on myself. I didn't like myself. So, okay guys, she's gonna read the instructions so that way you know how to work on the name game.
How often do you look in the mirror and give yourself a compliment or a pat on the back? Many compliments,
That's okay.
Many people are more likely to say something nice to others than to ourselves, even though we deserve compliments too. In this activity, we will recognize our positive qualities and create a poem with those words to showcase our unique traits.
All right, good job. So she was reading the instructions, so does anybody want to read the steps? Okay, I'll let you go. What's your name? How do you say that?
Astrandria.
Oh, that's pretty. That's okay. Astrandria, I'll let you go.
Decide if you want to use your first name, last name, or nickname. Write or type your name vertically with each letter on a separate line. Brainstorm positive
Affirmations. Yep.
about yourself, including accomplishments, personality, values, and appearance. You can use single word phrases or even full sentences in your poem. Place your qualities or phrases on the line that begins with or contains the same letter. Make each letter of your name a positive affirmation. Illustrate your appreciation for friends and family members by making additional poems using their names and unique qualities.
All right. So basically, you just take the initials of your name, like I put my name here, and you just put something positive with it. So I'll read my name's Kayla. So K, you can make it the beginning or the middle of a sentence, but I put I'm kind to my body. So the K represents the word kind. I appreciate all that my body does for me on a daily basis. So I use the A in my name for the word appreciate. I say yes to loving my body fully. I love myself unconditionally without judgment, and I adore my uniqueness because it gives me strength. So if you want to take each one of those letters, I think you can write on the back of this. I'm sorry I didn't bring extra. I printed out everything, but you can write on the back of it if you want, because you can keep these. Yep. You just take the letter of your name, and then you can write like a positive sentence about it. Oh, thank you. And you can work together, and then we'll have a couple people read it out loud if you want. Do y'all have any questions? You're getting stuck?
Is this right?
Yes, you are perfect. Yep, good job. Are you stuck on a letter?
Name starts with an H.
H. Happy, honest. Hero, that's good. Yes.
What can I do?
For Z, that is a difficult letter. Let's think.
I like zebras.
I like zebras, or I like my body feels good when it's zooming around. Something like that.
How about Y?
A Y? A Y? I had a Y in my name. Do y'all see what you don't have to use my letter or my name, my word, but you can use.
I have to write a sentence.
A sentence, preferably something about yourself that you like. N. I am nice to my body, or something like that. I am nice. I am. Hold on for a second. I am.
What is the arrogant?
I'm nervous about what? Something like that.
Is arrogant positive or negative?
Arrogant or arrogant? That means kind of, yeah. An I, yeah. Intelligent.
I already have smart.
Intellectual.
What does that mean?
Smart. I think most people are done. So since most people are done, if you want to sit back up in your seat, we can. Somebody can share. Okay, Eve. I know your name because we kept talking about Eve. I am excellent. That's good. That's really good. I like that. All right, I don't know your name. Sylvia. Okay.
I didn't make sentences. I just put it as a word for each letter.
Okay.
So for S, I did social. For Y, I did young. For L, I did lovable. For V, I did lovable. For I did intelligent. And for A, I did awesome.
All right. Alyssa.
I put Alex for my nickname.
Okay.
I adore my body. I love myself in the way I look. I am extraordinary. I am extremely kind to my body.
Okay. Oh, cool. You got a dream. That's your name. That's cool. I like that.
I did my nickname. I'm loving to my body. I appreciate my body. I don't have negative thoughts about me. I care about my body. I am emotional about my body.
Okay. Y'all coming up with some good stuff. Does anybody else want to share? I'm going to say your name just because I want to hit you. Angie. All right.
I said I am amazing. I love myself. I'm nice to everyone and myself. The word gorgeous reminds of me. I am intelligent. I feel empathy to others.
All right. Anybody? All right. Riley?
I said I am positive about my body image. I love myself unconditionally, and I love that I have an eccentric personality.
All right. Anybody else? Those are all really, really good. Oh, Alyssa, right? Okay.
I think my middle name, Anne.
Ann? Okay.
I said, also I'm nice and I'm noticeable.
All right. No, you said noticeable? I like that. See, you thought of it. I didn't have to help. Well, good job. Good job. Kasia, okay.
Okay, I put I am kind to everyone. I am amazing fighter with problems. I'm young but smart. I am important.
Awesome. That's okay. Z, that one got me a while ago. I couldn't. Who else asked me about the letter Z? Yeah. Did you think of one? Not yet? Okay. Google it. Zooming? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she said I am.
All right. All right. And your name is?
My name is Altana, but I did my last name, which is Edwards.
Okay.
For the E, I did extraordinary. For the first D, I did dynamic. For the W, I did weird.
Okay. I'm weird too. It's a good.
Yeah. For the A, I did awesome. For the R, I did rare. For the other D, I did determined. And for the S, I did sweet.
All right. You can keep that with you all. Just kind of write those down, share them with your family, share them with the rest of your all's friends. That's just something that I do that keeps me more positive. So about my body. We'll go over body image and self-esteem. So they're very closely related. There's just a little bit of differences, but self-esteem is simply the satisfaction factor in oneself. A person has poor body image and low self-esteem when they're dissatisfied with a piece of their appearance. Someone with poor body image worries about the way that they look, and these worries can get in the way of them feeling confident and trying out new things. Someone with positive body image accepts their body as it is and actively appreciates it for what it allows them to do. And it doesn't let their self-esteem based on their appearance. Some people think it's vanity to have a strong self-esteem. It's not vanity, it's totally untrue. So a person with positive body image won't associate their appearance as taking over their own values. So just because you love yourself and you're writing positive things about your name and all these things you say about yourself, it doesn't mean that you're arrogant or you're suck up or anything like that. It just means that you love yourself. So another mantra or something that you can say is, you are enough. You do enough. You do not have to be perfect to be confident. Okay, and this one, like I told you all in the beginning, body image and eating disorders. Since I had an eating disorder, I thought I'd put that in there. Oftentimes, body image and eating disorders go hand in hand. Calling yourself fat, chubby, feeling ashamed in your own skin, and never feeling good enough all cause self-doubt. People who experience feeling unworthy or self-consciousness tends to suffer from depression, low self-esteem, and eating disorders. So I had all those for a long time. Like I said in the beginning, I was constantly depressed, constantly worried about what other people thought about me, compared myself to other people. All those things made me depressed. So research suggests by age of 6 now, girls are especially start to express about their weight. So by 6 years old, a lot of girls already worried about their appearance and how they look and what they should dress like. And that's really young, but that's eye-opening. Now with TV, magazines, social media, selfies, y'all don't take selfies, do you? Yes. I know, it's okay. And we're surrounded more of what's supposed to be the perfect body. There is no perfect body. The mantra for this one is, there is no perfect body. Your body is already perfect right now. So that's something I would suggest you say to yourself anytime, really. But non-intrusive about eating disorders. Many people with eating disorders look healthy, yet they may be extremely ill. So when I had anorexia, there was times where I got really, really small, and then there was other times where I felt like I looked normal. But inside it was not normal. Families aren't to blame. So in eating disorders, diagnosed into health crises that interfere with personal and family functions. A lot of times mine got in the way of me going out to eat with my family. I wouldn't go out to eat. I was scared. I didn't want to eat anything. So I just, I wouldn't go out to eat with them, or if I did go out to eat, I would order something and try to hide it later, and it wasn't a good place to be in for, like I said, about 10 years. So they affect people of all ages, races, body shapes, weight, ethnicities, which is a big word, and social status. So it can affect everybody. Eating disorders can carry a risk factor for suicide and other complications. I'll be real, I thought about that whenever I was going through really bad depression. I thought about suicide a couple of times. I'm not afraid to talk about it now, but I did. I thought about that a couple of times. So I'm glad I didn't, or I wouldn't be here to talk to you all today. Genes can't predict an eating disorder, and full recovery is possible. Like I said, I'm going on my 5th year now, and now I health coach and help people and talk about it. So that's what helped me the most, is actually talking about it. But it is possible to recover. So. And at the bottom, there's a couple of places you can go to if you know someone that's going through eating disorders. I do a lot of my stuff with NEDA. It's a National Eating Disorder Association, so I'm able to give these talks. I got a certification through them to do body image facilitating, is what it's called. And there's a bunch of other ones too. Project Heal, I actually do their Facebook page, so I put pictures and quotes and articles about eating disorders for Project Heal on their Facebook page. But there's a bunch of other ones too. Main thing is just don't keep it hidden from anything. Okay, so self-love and body image. You can't love another person until you love yourself first. So a lot of y'all said a lot of really great things about yourself, which is really awesome, because you have to love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you just have to love yourself. I can't stress that enough. Think about how true this is. When we love ourselves, we can give more, do more, and be more. Self-love is just as important when you pick your mate, your job, how you cope with problems, etc. Appreciation of oneself is not selfish. It's a necessity. We should appreciate our own strengths and our weaknesses. Weaknesses help you learn. Mantra for this would be, I will not determine my self-worth based on my appearance. Just a couple of statistics. People rate body image as being in their top 3 sources of concern. Half of girls and 1/4 of boys believe their peers have body image problems. 60% of girls and 20% of boys have been on a diet to try to lose weight by the age of 15. Mine was 15. That's when it started for me. I just turned 30 this year, but mine started when I was 15. So that's when I started my first diet, and then that led me into the whole eating disorder. So I did that up until I was 25. By their early 20s, 12% of girls and 8% of boys have used diet pills. 8% of girls and 1% of boys have made themselves vomit, and 5% of girls and 2% of boys have used laxatives to lose weight. And between 1 and 5% of adolescents have used steroids to gain muscle mass. So how to be the change? That's kind of one of my favorite things, is be the change, because we all want to be proactive and make it better so we can help people. So start with awareness. Being mindful of body shaming and negative self-esteem is crucial. So when you find yourself saying bad things about yourself, try to replace that with some of those mantras or positive thoughts, because it's a whole mindset. That's really what helped me recover, is changing the way that I think about myself. Not every day's positive. I still have to work on that. I'll be honest. I mean, everything, you have to constantly work on it. But if you are aware of what you're thinking and what you're telling yourself, it really helps. Examine your attitudes, thoughts, and beliefs. Are they satisfying or not? So just because you tell yourself something, is it because you heard it from your friend, or do you see it on TV, or do you see it on Facebook, or are they really true? I mean, that's my thing, is are they true? Make sure you're telling yourself positive things. Observe your thought patterns. That's kind of what I said about mindset. What you do to start changing certain patterns today. What helped me the most was journaling. I've always liked to write, but I never really did it often. Like, I would always get journals or something for Christmas, and I'd put it away or not reuse it. But I would always, when I was going through recovery, I went and wrote everything down. Good, bad. I didn't have to go back and reread it, but I would write down everything that I was thinking about myself or what I was feeling or anything, and it helped get it off my chest. So journaling is a really good exercise. It's never too late to take the leap of faith. Encourage others to talk openly about how they feel about themselves. Good body image and self-esteem can provide you with the courage to try new things. Does any of y'all like to try new things? I went to Chicago on Monday. I was in Chicago for 3 days, and I rode have any of y'all heard of the Navy Pier? Well, it's on the water, and it was a Ferris wheel on the water, and it was really high, and I did not want to do it, but I did it, and I was glad I did it, but I tried new things that day. It still scared me to death, but that's okay. Self-love tips would be practicing gratitude, just means practicing being thankful, becoming mindful, practice your self-care daily, set boundaries, forgive yourself, that's a big one. Don't beat yourself up. Live with purpose, do something nice for yourself, and let go of trying to control everything. So celebrate your wins because they're lessons learned. But appreciate all that your body can do. Replace a negative thought with a positive. Don't compare yourself to other people. Write down what you think about yourself. True beauty is not just skin deep. Surround yourself with positive people. So always be around people that make you feel good, not feel bad. Turn off negative voices and become critical of what you see on TV, social media, magazines, and things like that. Well, I'm going to give you this calendar, and these are, I give these to everybody, but it's called self-love. So there's 30 days on here. You can do 30 different things every day that helps you love yourself more. So I'm going to pass these around.
I never thought that my physical appearance would change the way I seen life. The confidence was not all the way there. And I think once I found the love, I got the motivation to speak again. As I have this makeup on right now, I have a sense of sadness. It's frowned upon to be different. You see the beauty that comes out of it, because no one can tell me that I'm not beautiful. The first wipe is from depression, and I was able to overcome that. Many late nights when I'm asking God, why me? That second wipe is from people not even wanting to be around me. I lost friends. That third wipe was all the tears that I shed. I knew for the rest of my life I was going to stand out. I am Tiffany Wiley, motivational speaker, and yes, I am proud to have vitiligo. I am great.
Imagine being considered normal all your life until that one day your friends stop keeping it real. All because your physical appearance starts to change, and everywhere they go, people stare at you strange. Imagine playing kickball, pick first but now last, getting joked on in front of the whole class. I had pencil shavings dumped in my hair all because my parents used to say, "You're not one of us." Imagine crying so much you just couldn't take it. People telling you you're not going to make it. Having the lowest of the low self-esteem, and sometimes catching yourself having suicidal dreams. Imagine that. Thank you so much for having me. What's up, ladies? Hi. Thank you. I need your energy. I need to feel your energy. Look, so these ladies right here, y'all just shift your chair, turn your chair so you can see me. I want to see how beautiful y'all are. But that's what's up. So thank you so much, Girl Power Group, for having me today. I was only 7. I was only 7 years old, and I remember that day like it was yesterday. Because my mom, grandmother, and I all went to the doctor because all of a sudden white spots started to appear all on my fingertips. The doctor comes out of the office and gives my mother the results. Miss Foster, who is my mother, your daughter has vitiligo. Vitiligo? What confusion in my mother's voice. What is that? Well, vitiligo is when white patches appear on your skin all out of nowhere. All out of nowhere. For me, that was weird, but I just wanted to go play with my friends. I didn't care. I was like, okay, can we speed this up, Doc? My mom's gonna buy me Chick-fil-A later. And so as that result happened, everything is fun and games until it hits your face. So it don't matter what's going on, you can hide it underneath until it hits your face. And that's what happened to me at the age 10. 10 was the most depressing part of my life. I was in a very dark place at the age of 10. I remember sitting at my desk. Is one of the most, I guess it's most heartbreaking story that I could tell, but it was one of the most rewarding stories that I could tell you. I was sitting at my desk, doing my work, minding my business, and a group of girls dumped an entire bottle of pencil shavings in my hair. They poured all of those pencil shavings in my hair. And I was really confused on why would they do that to someone like me. Because I didn't pick on them, I was just trying to fit in. I was just trying to be cool. And so they thought that I wasn't cool. So I was looking at them, I was like, why me? Like, why would you do this to me? And they laughing like, you're not one of us. And so I was really heartbroken, and I had tears coming out of my eyes because I had pencil shavings in my hair. I didn't come to school with pencil shavings, but I'm leaving school with pencil shavings, with depression, and I'm leaving school with anger, and I'm leaving school with heartbreaks. But that was how school was for me. And so the teacher pulls those pencil shavings out of my hair, And every pencil shaving that she pulled out was probably pride that left. It was probably more depression, more tears that left every time she pulled those pencil shavings out of my hair. But she pulled them out of my hair, and I'm very thankful for my teacher who did that. I don't know what happened to those girls, but I do remember what had happened to me. And so I remember riding that bus back home, and I go to my grandmother. My grandma always waiting on me. She loved me. I'm her favorite. So she's always waiting on me at the front door. And my bus stop was at the corner, and even on the bus is when I sat at the front of the bus because there was people who joked on me in the back of the bus. And so I'm running, and I'm running as fast as I can. Have you ever ran and you just crying and just running? Just so sad, you just running as fast as you can. And I finally arrived to my grandmother's house, and I'm like, Grandma, they talking about me, Grandma. Grandma, you said I was normal. Grandma, you said that I was okay. Why me? And so with just sadness on my grandmother's face, thought my grandma was gonna pull off her wig, pop off her nails, grease her knuckles, and go beat these girls up. That's at least what I hope. I was like, Grandma, take them earrings off too, girl. She didn't do it. I lost a lot of hope. My grandma didn't beat the girls up. But my grandmother did tell me, baby, everything's gonna be all right. And so you couldn't have told me that everything was going to be all right. Not at the darkest place of my life. Not at the lowest place of my life when the teacher just took out each pencil shaving, which represented depression, heartache, loss of friends. You couldn't have told me everything was going to be all right. Thought I was by myself. I didn't think people understood what I was going through. And so I remember playing outside with my sister. My sister beat up everybody too, y'all. And so I remember playing outside with my sister, and a lady drove past and said, you need to cover that mess up. And so I'm playing outside, like she said, cover that mess up. Because see, this lady was somebody who wore makeup all the time. And see, I didn't know until years down the road that that lady who told me to cover that mess up was the lady who also had vitiligo. But she was ashamed, but she was grown. And she told me to cover that mess up. And so eventually we covered it up, and I went to go get makeup. And I wore this makeup, y'all, from my 5th grade year all the way up until my senior year in high school. I wore makeup. I kept it in my pockets. When I got home from school, I had makeup all over my uniform. I don't know if y'all wear uniforms? Wow. Y'all need to wear uniforms again. But I wore makeup, but I had to wear that uniform, and so I had collar shirts, and I had that makeup on, and it was all over my collar, and I go to the bathroom in the stall and try to put makeup back on my face so I look one color and try to be normal. And so when I finally realized that I was tired of pleasing everybody else, when I finally realized that I was done people pleasing, that's when I stopped wearing makeup. My faith, I believe that when I went to church, that I was like, hey, I'm done. I can't do this no more. I'm ready to live my life. I'm ready to live my best life, be the best me that I could be. So I believe wearing makeup was why I stopped being the best me, because I was hiding. I was wearing this mask. And so when I finally stopped wearing that makeup, I was finally able to be myself. I was finally able to love who I was. And so I come here today to tell you to love yourself. And love yourself no matter what. No matter what you look like, no matter what people think about you, no matter how people look at you, love yourself and love the skin that you're in. You have to love yourself. Love yourself. If you want to be the best, you got to love yourself first. No matter what. It is hard, but guess what? Life is so hard, but life gets easier. Life gets easier. It's like riding a bike in the mud. When you're pedaling as hard as you can and riding in the mud, it gets really hard. But guess what? You don't have to stay in that mud long, because if you keep paddling, things get easier and life gets easier. But I come here today to tell you to love yourself and keep pushing, because you are great. And so they say, Tiffany, how am I able to know that I'm great? I mean, what is this? How did you overcome this? So one way that I was able to overcome my physical appearance was through self-talk. Of course, I had my family's praying for me, but it was through self-talk. And so what does my shirt say? Oh, I didn't believe. Did y'all believe that it was great? We was all confused. Like, what? I'm 8. That's what it sounded like. I am 8. All right. So let's see. Let me hear you say, I am great. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I am great. Yes, you are great. So I created a movement, and it's the I am great movement, and it means no matter what. So no matter how you look, no matter what doctor's report that you just got, no matter what family member has already passed away, no matter what type of difference you have in your life, no matter what life challenges are thrown your way, you're destined for greatness. You are destined to be great. 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 But you got to be the best you that you can be. And be the best at it, ladies. Be the best you that you can be. And I can't stress that enough. So the I Am Great movement, I started this movement, and y'all, it has spread. So you have to have positive self-talk in your life. You have to speak so positive to yourself. Because if you say, I am a failure, how does that make you feel? Somebody raise your hand if you hear yourself say, I am a failure. How do you feel? In the back, yes.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it, okay. Sad. Depressed. Mad. Upset. Yes. Hurt. Absolutely. What if I said, I am ugly? How do you feel? If you say, I'm ugly, how does that make you feel? Yes. Disappointed. Yeah. Depressed. Yes. Sad again. Absolutely. Yeah. You believe it. Okay. Absolutely. If you say it, that's what you believe, right? Okay. What if I said, I am beautiful? What does it make you feel? Yes. Happy, yeah. Confident. Positive. Accomplished. Joyful. Proud. Absolutely. So when you hear that you say I am beautiful, so what does I am great make you feel like? What does it make you feel? It makes you feel great. Yeah, that's a good adjective to describe it. What else? Yeah. Powerful. Woo. I like that. Okay. Powerful. What else? Somebody else. Strong. Absolutely. What else? One more person. Happy. So absolutely. You see how when you say negative, it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel blah. But when you say positive, it makes you feel like you can go conquer the world. You can go be the first female president of the United States when you feel like you're great. So what? Can't nobody stop you? You could be the person who finds a cure for cancer when you say you're great. Okay? You can go be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do when you speak life into yourself. But when you start saying negative things about yourself, that's when things happen. That's when bad things happen in your life. So speak positive, and that's what we got to do, ladies. We got to speak positive. You got to live your best life, but you got to just speak it. Because if I said I'm not going to make it, y'all would believe that I'm not going to make it, and I don't believe that I'm not going to make it. So nothing will happen for me. But when I say I'm great, I walk around with great, y'all. One day somebody told me, they said, man, she's arrogant. I was like, for real? Thank you. Yes. Y'all think I'm arrogant because, see, I was always depressed. I was always sad. So for somebody to think that I was cocky, okay, what am I doing right? I don't much watch Beyonce last night for them to think that. So yeah, so you just speak life into yourself. And because I was able to love who I was able to get married. And I have a very handsome husband who was in the video. I'm a part of a blended family. So I'm sure some of us in here may be a part of blended families. And so my daughter lives in South Carolina, who is 11 years old. And so because of that, I'm able to go and talk to beautiful ladies like you. And so everybody has a story. Everybody's going through something for a reason. Now, when you make it through your storm, because thunderstorms don't last always, do they? No? Do hurricanes last forever? And what comes after all these storms? What do you see after a storm? You see sunshine and a rainbow. It's beautiful, right? But you got to go through your storm to see your rainbow. Rainbows just don't come just because it's hot outside. Something had to have happened. And so when you see a rainbow, just know that you are a rainbow, that you are amazing. You are amazing. I know what it feels like to feel by yourself and feel in a dark place that you don't want to live anymore. I do know what that feels like because I was there. And I was able to overcome that through writing, through talking, through keeping positive people in my life. So as I close, I need you all, because we're going to have a conversation, because it's not about me, it's about you. And so I'm sure you have questions. So Remember that you're great. Remember that you're gonna make it. You will make it. You will make it. You gotta go through something. You gotta go through it now, and it's not for the weak. You gotta be strong, because you said great makes you feel strong. Being great makes you feel powerful, and you gotta keep that in your heart and in your mind and live with it forever. Forever, ever. So, what do y'all wanna be when you grow up? Raise your hand. Ooh, I see dreams. A fashion designer. Somebody in the other class wanna be, y'all need to pair up. Fashion, okay?
Either a chef or owner of a bakery.
Girl, somebody else in there want to be a chef at a bakery too. Wow. The Army? What? I work for them. Let us sign you up. That's what's up. A lawyer, okay. Hold on. What you want to be in the Army? Wow. Girl, you go, girl. Anything you can do, I can do better. That's what you tell them, all right? Yes, you can. All right.
Either a fashion designer or a home renter.
A fashion designer or what, baby girl?
My grandma owns homes, and I was gonna take over her business.
Yeah, you're going to take over that. That's an empire. You make sure you take over that and be the fashion designer. Do both. That's good success.
I always wanted to be a cartoonist.
A cartoon? Oh my gosh. Like, do y'all talk to the other people in there? Because y'all all got the same dreams.
A vet or a doctor.
Are you kidding me? Wow. Somebody said they want to be a zoologist. Somebody said they want to be an animation, a chef. Y'all need to pair up, because we can be real powerful in this room. A fashion designer too?
Or artist.
Or artist? Oh my gosh, y'all all saying the same thing.
Cosmetologist.
A cosmetologist, okay, I like that. That's what's up. A nurse, I love it. You want to be a cosmetologist too? It's like playing the matching game. I just match all y'all up.
I have 3.
You got 3, all right, tell me your 3, but make sure that they can hear it back here, okay?
I want to be a chef.
Okay.
I want to be a veterinarian.
Ooh.
And I want to do cosmetology.
Oh my gosh, I swear, have you ever played that pair game when you pick something, y'all all got it in common?
I want to be that person who gives homes for homeless.
Really? Wow. Yes. An engineer. Ooh. What about you, Candace? What you want to be? You don't know what you want? What you like to do? What's your favorite thing to do? You don't know yet? All right. Well, when I see you soon, because I'm going to see you again, you tell me, all right? You got to think about it. But look at that. Listen to this. This is a powerful room. Because if we had like Hillary Clinton in this room, if we had like Beyonce in this room, it'd be a powerful room, right? Why? It's powerful because it's us in here. We a powerful room. We can conquer the world. And I love that you guys, you ladies, have dreams. And go get your dream. You've already spoke it. You've already spoke it. Now it's time to execute, okay? And that's that. You got to execute. Candace, I'm coming to see you now, girl. I can't wait to see what you're going to be, girl. But I love it. And so, someone tell me, ask me a question. What's your questions? What kind of question? Yes.
How did you overcome being mad and angry at the world?
Oh, good question. That was the first time I ever had that question. How did you overcome being mad and angry at the world? Wow. That's a good question. What grade you in?
6.
Dang. I wonder what you're going to ask when you're in 8th grade. Wow. You know what? I had to look at life differently. I really did. I had to look at it with a different view, the cup half full instead of half empty. Because honestly, the world didn't do this. Like, they was mean to me, but that's life, right? Some people are mean, some people are nice. How I overcame it, I just had to believe in myself. And when you believe in yourself, you take that outside out, all that outside negative out. So like when you're loving who you are, you loving yourself, you don't worry about other people or other things that have affected you in the past, because it could really set you back. That's a really good question. Did I answer your question? Did it help? Okay, that was a good question. I wasn't prepared for that one. That was good. Who else got a question? Yes, ma'am.
How do you overcome the self-hate that you got from others and from what you know about yourself?
How did I overcome the self-hate that I received? And wow, y'all are killing it. Like, y'all got me on my toes today. So as I use my analogy, it's one of my favorite analogies that I literally just I just said in there is because, you know, that overcome of that self-hate or in people, you know. And so I had to realize that everybody won't go to the top with you. Everybody in life is not coming to the top. So as I used that analogy next door, it was the elevator. And so when we get on the elevator and you need to go to the 10th floor, as you step on the elevator, there's a lot of people, right? But when people get on the elevator, what do? They go on different floors, so they push different buttons, right? But you're trying to go to the 10th floor, but some people will stop at the 4th floor or the 6th floor. So I had to realize that everybody ain't coming to the top with me. And I had to understand that, even with friends. And so it's not that I'm by myself, but it's that I had to know who I was. I had to go to the top knowing that I'm gonna be okay. But guess what? There are people in your life that will go to the 10th floor with you. There are some people that's gotta take that 10th floor. But there are some people that won't take that 10th floor. And so you just gotta understand that and try to overcome all the negativity. Because think about it, if they get off on the 4th floor, that might have been somebody who was negative in your life and it was time for them to get off. It was time for them to leave. Or that 5th floor, they was too much stress. You gotta go. And so it was time for their door to exit. It's the reason, season, lifetime. So when you get a chance, Google reason, season, lifetime poem. Google that poem and it's very powerful and you can carry that for the rest of your life. Great question. Did I answer it? Good stuff. Girl, yes. Was you with me? How'd you know that? Yes. Whenever I was in school, did I hide clothes? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had a boyfriend. They're stupid, by the way. But I had a boyfriend who, when I dated him, I had long sleeve shirt on and jeans. But the moment I wore a short sleeve, after he seen me, he texted me and said, it's over. He broke up with me. Yeah, that was crazy. That'll mess with your self-esteem, all right? You were like, oh my gosh, now I can't even get a boyfriend. But it was okay, because I was really okay with this. I mean, like, it hurt in the beginning, but I was like, you know what? So what? Boys are stupid. I'm going to go through this. I got this. It's whatever. So, yeah, good question. But, yeah, I definitely had to wear the long sleeve shirts a lot. It'd be hot outside, too. Oh, my gosh. But I still wore that daggone long sleeve shirt and jeans. I was sweating. But at home, I wore shorts because my family made me feel like I was normal. So I wore shorts with my family, but when I was by myself, negative. Nope, I ain't trying to do none of that. When I had to dress out for gym, I would wear my uniform with the shorts on top of it. They counted me absent, but I don't care. I got over that too. Everybody, put your hand on your chest. Put your hand on your chest, all right? And so when you say this, as a matter of fact, just close your eyes. Close your eyes when you say this, because we're not even going to worry about the person next to us. And so just repeat after me. Just hear my voice and repeat after me. And just say it with everything that you got. Say, I am great.
I am great.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am smart.
I am smart.
I love myself. And I got it going on. Remember that. Y'all can open your eyes. Remember that. Because, see, when you close your eyes, it does something different to you. Because you take out everybody that's near you. You take it away. And it's just between you and self. And remember that. Remember it. Ladies, you can make it. You're going to make it. You are great, and I believe in each and every one of you. I believe in y'all so much that I love you, and you don't even know me. But I love you, and I got your back. And all these people around here got your back. That's why you're here today. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. You are here for a reason. So remember that and keep pushing because you're strong, you're great, you're beautiful, and you got it going on. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay guys, I am Mrs. Phillips. I'm from the health department, and this portion of your day is going to be about vaping, but it's also going to be a little bit about addiction. Okay? So we're calling it What's So Bad About Vaping. Before I get started, raise your hand for me if you've seen this in real life. Somebody tell me what it is. Okay, it's a jewel. Seen anything that looks kind of like this? Okay. How about this one? Anybody seen anything like this? Okay. Devices like this? Lots of hands. And how about these? Even more hands. Okay, so I know this is in your world. I know you guys are seeing these in real life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Why do I talk to kids about vaping? Because we know that the majority, about 80% of adults who started smoking, started before they were 18. So if we can get you to 18 years old and never smoke and never vape, the odds say you never will. Okay? That's why we talk to you when you're young. So we're going to do a little quiz all together. Nicotine is it a drug? Is it not even in vapes? Is it not addictive if you just use a little bit? Everybody, what do you think? Okay, that is right. Nicotine is a drug. How about the second one? How addictive is it? It's not addictive, only if you use a whole lot, or it's extremely addictive. Okay, that is correct. Nicotine is extremely addictive. How about number 3? Who's most at risk for addiction to nicotine? Is it young people, middle-aged adults, or older folks? Okay, again, this is why I talk to your age group. And then the last one, I have to use it every single day to get addicted. Okay, sounds like we're kind of split there, but the correct answer is false. Okay, I don't have to be a daily user to become addicted to nicotine. So let's talk a little bit about nicotine. Okay, we know that nicotine is a drug. Okay, the type of drug that it is called a stimulant. Comes from that word stimulate. If something stimulates you, what does it do? Pumps you up, revs you up, okay? But what stimulants also do is they take those blood vessels and they make them really small. So if my blood vessels are really small, what does that do to how my heart works? Makes it work a lot harder, doesn't it? If it's got to pump that blood through little bitty blood vessels, makes it really hard on my heart. Okay, we learned in the quiz that nicotine's very addictive. We can say that nicotine is one of the most addictive drugs that exists. They rank it up there with heroin for how addictive that it is. And then the point about brain, it actually changes how your brain functions. And we're going to look at how that happens in just a second. And the only place in the world that nicotine comes from is where? Tobacco. Okay? So we're going to get a little bit of science today along with our health lesson. So where does it come from? Where do we find it? We said it comes from the leaf of the tobacco plant. Okay? Only place in the world that nicotine is derived from. We know that it's found in cigarettes. And actually the tobacco companies can manipulate the amount of nicotine that's in cigarettes. So they can make it higher if they want to. E-juice, okay? Just about every e-juice that's out there has some amount of nicotine in it. So, here comes our science portion of the lesson. How does it affect the brain? You see that little yellow lit up center there in the brain? That's the pleasure center of our brain. That's where it tells us that something feels good. So when we inhale that nicotine, that's where it goes, to that pleasure center of the brain. And what it does, all those little things that look like stars, those are those pleasure receptors. And nicotine sticks to those pleasure receptors. So when I inhale that nicotine through my lungs and it hits my brain says, this feels really good. Okay, so now it's affected my entire brain. So that sounds like a good thing, right? I'm doing something that makes my brain feel good. But what starts to happen is it starts to mess with our brain's ability to feel good. If we're getting that from an artificial place, is that going to confuse our brain? Okay, and that's what happens. Our brain doesn't want to make its own feel-good chemicals anymore. It wants you to give it that nicotine to artificially give you that feel-good, that sense of, oh, this feels good. So gradually what happens is I keep getting this feel-good chemical from an artificial source, my brain thinks it needs it to feel normal now. So not only am I not getting this makes me feel good, it turns into, I have to have this just to feel normal. So that's what this looks like. Okay? So even though I know all the harmful things that it's doing to my body, I have to give it to my brain now just to function. So we're going to look at that in a different way. So I take in the nicotine. In this case, it's from an e-cigarette. It hits that pleasure center of my brain. My brain says, oh, this is awesome. But it's going to eventually wear off. So that feeling of this feels really good is going to go away. So what am I going to have to do to get that feel good back? I'm going to have to smoke again, or I'm going to have to vape again. So do you guys see how that's a vicious cycle of I have to keep feeding that feeling so that I don't feel bad? So that's kind of how nicotine affects our brain. But how does it affect the rest of our body? Well, we talked about how it affects our heart. Because it's a stimulant, it affects those blood vessels, which makes my heart beat a lot harder. It's working a lot harder now. It affects my lungs. We're literally doing damage to our lungs if we smoke or we vape. This is one you might not think about. It affects my digestive system. Nicotine is causing my stomach to produce acid. So now I might be dealing with acid reflux. Another one you might not think about is if you're diabetic, it affects your ability to process insulin. And another body system that it affects, who wants to be a parent someday down the road? I was going to say there's only one kid in the room that wants to have kids someday. If you want to have kids someday, it does damage to our reproductive system too. So it's not just our brain we're talking about when we're talking about nicotine addiction, but it affects a lot of other body systems. So since we're talking about e-cigarettes, we have to talk about flavors. And there are lots of them. At this point, we're about 7,000 different e-juice flavors. Now, there's lots of different flavors out there. And the e-cigarette companies will say, oh, these products are for adults. We never meant for kids to use them. And then they make flavors like dragon's blood and banana butt and unicorn poop. Do you think somebody my age is going to use a flavor like that? No. So we know they are making these flavors just for you guys. But the chemicals in some of these flavors are very dangerous. Okay? So not only is the nicotine dangerous, but now some of the chemicals in the flavors are also dangerous. And cinnamon is at the very top of the list. So if it's a flavor that has the chemicals that create the cinnamon flavor, you got to avoid it. And the fruit flavors are also very dangerous. And they use cherry as an example here. Cherry, strawberry, vanilla, they're pretty high up on the dangerous list too. And we're going to look at some other effects on our health. So we looked at just nicotine itself, but what other health effects do e-cigarettes or vapes have on our health? Okay, so first we're going to look at our lungs. When I breathe in the chemicals from that e-cigarette, where do they go? They go into my lungs. Do my lungs have any way to get the bad stuff back out? No. They don't, okay? So now we've inhaled this deeply in our lungs, and it's there. It's not like it would go into our stomach and we would digest it, right? Once it's in our lungs, we can't get it back out. Again, because most of them contain nicotine, they're doing damage to our heart. This is a little bit different from some of the other tobacco products in that we're finding damage to our eyes, our ears, and our throat with the aerosol produced by these e-cigarettes. And then we list the brain on here because we are very worried about the potential for addiction for young people. If you start vaping when you're young, the potential to become addicted young is very high. So with cigarettes, we have years and years of research about what they do to our bodies. Have e-cigarettes been around very long? They haven't. So we don't have all those years of research of, okay, we know these things that they do, but 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, what else are we going to learn? Like, we know some of the chemicals in cigarettes cause cancer. We don't have that information with e-cigarettes, okay? So there's a whole lot of question marks still about what they're going to do to our bodies long term. Now, I also wanted to throw this in there because this is something a lot of people don't think about, even with cigarettes. And that's third-hand smoke or third-hand aerosol. So, can somebody tell me what second-hand smoke is? What is it?
Like when somebody smokes in your house and then you inhale it.
Okay, that's what's this first picture. When we inhale what's coming off the end of that burning cigarette, or we inhale the vapor or the aerosol that's coming off somebody's vape, okay? We call that secondhand smoke or secondhand aerosol. So what do you think third-hand smoke or third-hand aerosol might be? What do you think that might be? Okay, you are exposed, but you're exposed in a special kind of way. And that's when those chemicals from the vapor settle on your environment, okay? Now it's in my walls, it's on my curtains, it's on my couch, it's in my carpet, it's in the upholstery of my car if I vape in my car. So that's what third-hand smoke, if we're talking about cigarettes, or third-hand aerosol is when we're talking about vapes. So who do you think third-hand exposure is most dangerous for? Anybody who's going to be on those surfaces. So if you have a baby or a toddler in your house, where do they spend most of their time? On the couch, on a blanket on the floor. Okay? And what about our pets? Are they down on the ground all the time? Okay? Or maybe they get to sleep on our couch? Or what about their dog bed on the inside of the house? So if those chemicals have settled on those surfaces, is that very dangerous for our littles and our pets? Absolutely. Because how do babies, and even pets for that matter, explore their world? With their mouth. Okay? So they're directly in contact with those chemicals that have settled onto the surfaces. So not only do we have to worry about the user and the second-hand exposure, but there's also a third-hand exposure. So, knowing all of that, why do you think teenagers choose to vape?
Either they don't know the repercussions or don't care, or they're trying to fit into social classes.
Okay, so kind of two things there. They don't know all this yet, or they're doing it to fit in. Okay, so peer pressure is huge with these devices, right? Any other reasons why you think teenagers are more likely? Do you guys know what the number one reason is that teenagers use these? Not stress. Okay, that is true. There is a big misconception that these are healthier than cigarettes, but does it sound like that's true? It's not, okay? What do you think the number one reason is a teenager would try an e-cigarette? Okay, the cool factor's definitely on the list, but you guys still haven't hit my number one. Okay, would you guys believe the number one reason a kid would try a vape is they're curious about the flavors? When they see all those different options and maybe they've smelled somebody using one, curiosity about the flavors is what you guys tell us is the number one reason you're willing to try one. And peer pressure is really high up on that list too. Everybody else in my school does it. Okay? Now there's one more thing I want to show you. Now, we've learned since we were really little that cigarettes are bad. Okay? So I want to equate for you what it would look like if you used one of the pod vapes. Okay? So in a pack of cigarettes, how many cigarettes does it say there is? 20. Okay? So if I smoke a pack of cigarettes, I've smoked 20 cigarettes. If we look at the Juul, if you just used one Juul pod, how many cigarettes do they say that that is equated to? 41. Yeah. 41 cigarettes in one Juul pod. So if somebody uses a couple of pods a day, do you see how that adds up? I do not have a fix with me, but it's also a pod system. If I used one fixed pod, how many cigarettes does that equate to? 75. Okay. And then this is a Sorin. And if I used one Sorin pod, how many cigarettes? 90. Okay. And what they have done with the pod, we call these pod systems, this type of vape, is they've changed the nicotine. Okay, so it's a new kind of nicotine, and it's not as harsh as the old type of nicotine. So it's a lot smoother, but it's a lot more powerful. Okay, so depending on the brand with these pod systems, you're getting a whole lot of nicotine, and you don't even realize it. Now, I will say, ladies, with this type where you fill it yourself, a lot of times when you buy your juice, it'll say it has 0 nicotine in it. But there's nobody regulating this stuff. There's nobody saying how safe it has to be, what the quality has to be. So it could say it has 0 nicotine in it, but then if I took it to a lab and tested it, do you think that's true? No. It's not, because there's nobody telling them that they have to be truthful, so it may or it may not. But about 99% of the time, they have some amount of nicotine in them, even if they say on the package it's 0. Yes, ma'am?
What if you make your own?
You're going to have more control over the chemicals, okay? So you do have a little more control there. My worry about people who create their own e-juice is safety. Because it's been a couple years ago, but somebody came to our environmental department and said, this vape shop is not clean. Look at what they're doing. And they were mixing their own. And what they were doing is they had a great big plastic bowl, and they dumped all their chemicals in there to create their juice, and they had one needle that they used to fill every one of the little bottles. Now, does that sound safe?
No.
No. Okay? So you don't really know what you're getting.
Is it potentially more harmful for people who have asthma to vape because they're putting water vapor in their lungs?
Absolutely. Okay? And that brings up another point. Is there any water in these devices? There's not. So if you think that's just a big old cloud of water vapor, it's not. That's why I kept using that word aerosol, because what it really is a big old cloud of chemicals. So I say when we breathe that cloud of chemicals into our lungs, is that safe? It's not, because we can't get them back out of our bodies. Okay? So very dangerous for us to breathe that in. If you have asthma or any other breathing issues, it's especially dangerous for you. Okay. Yes, ma'am?
What happens if you smoke while you're pregnant?
It is very dangerous for a developing baby, whether we're talking about regular cigarettes or e-cigarettes. A lot of times babies born to people who smoke or who vape, they're born too early, they're born too small. They might be born with some health complications, so that is dangerous for baby too. Would it affect? Would it affect somebody with heart problems? Yes, even secondhand smoke can affect, especially somebody who has underlying health issues like asthma or heart problems. Even being exposed to that secondhand smoke is very dangerous for them.